Can you believe that we are nearly halfway through the month of December? Well, that also means we're nearly halfway through the final month of the year, which also means it is time for my final SAS list spoiler-free reviews. Welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. Let's go! Yes, hello and welcome back to Mr. Francy. Thank you so much for joining me today as I go through my final three series on my SAS list that I'm going to be doing spoiler-free reviews on. If you have not seen these videos before, basically what I do is I take three series that I've completed in the year of 2024, I give you a spoiler-free premise, and then give you three spoiler-free pros and spoiler-free cons to help you to determine if they are going to be the right series for you to pick up. So we're going to jump right on in. The first series that I'm going to be talking to you about is the Golden Boys duology by the wonderful Mr. Phil Stamper. And when I say wonderful, my goodness, do I love this author so much. This is an YA LGBTIQ plus duology that I have just absolutely had an interesting time with. You know, I'm very transparent on this channel. I'm not going to tell you I love something when I don't. I'm not going to tell you that I hate something when I don't. I'm not going to be nonplussed about something if I'm not. And at the end of the day, in all honesty, I struggled a little with this one. I absolutely loved this one. So struggled with book one, loved book two for varying reasons, and we will get into them. But first, in this series, we follow four boys' perspectives. Gabriel, Reese, Sal, and Heath, best friends who are about to travel alone to different areas for the first time. This series explores many topics, including the age-old adage, can long-distance relationships work, especially if they are long-distance relationships with friends. There are no spoilers that I discuss in my series. We'll hold up this book to represent. My first con is that there are four main perspectives. Yeah, that was my massive struggle with this first book, is that, as I was saying earlier, we follow Gabriel, Reese, Sal, and Heath. And when I say follow, I mean in their own individual perspectives. This is not only a personal con, but a con that I've seen a lot of people struggling with. And what helped me with book two was that I went in with the attitude of, you know, dash it all, it is what it is, and I'm just going to take it for what it is and try not to get too bogged down in over-analyzing the fact that there are four different main perspectives. But yeah, definitely it is a con to be mindful of. My first pro is Phil Stamper is the author. As I said at the top of this mini review for this particular series, I cannot sing Phil Stamper's praises enough. He's just a fantastic writer. It is own voices. He is gay himself. And it is authors like this that you want writing books, not just for the gay world or the lesbian world or any member world of the LGBTIQ plus community, but in any situation. You want authors that either know what they're talking about or have a passion to write about what it is that they're writing about. And Phil Stamper definitely is that. Not only is it own voices, but in every single one of his books, let alone this series, you can go in trusting that he is going to tackle one issue or another that comes up in the gay community. You feel heard as a gay person. If you are a gay person that picks up the book, you definitely feel heard. You can feel like you can understand the gay community a lot more if you are not part of it as well. So I just highly recommend Phil Stamper as an author, and that's why my second pro is Phil Stamper wrote the books. My second con is that there are only two books. I don't know if there will be a third. There hasn't been any mention of a third book coming out, and I'll be frank, there hasn't been any mention of Phil Stamper's next book that he is working on, so I'm currently under the assumption that Phil Stamper is on a very, very, very well-deserved vacation. By the time I got to the end of this book, I needed more from this series, so I really hope he does write another book in the series. we'll just have to wait and see. But the second pro is the found family trope. I cannot read the found family trope enough. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically defined in the 2 words of the trope itself. It is a family that is found by the character or characters themselves rather than the blood family that they are born into. I love this trope. I think it's wonderful when we have characters that, you know, make wonderful friendships that are so solid that you, even though you know their friendships, you look at it more as, no, they're a family. They may not be a family in blood, but they are a family. And yeah, that trope is definitely in this series. So if you're a fan of the found family trope, highly recommend picking up this duology. Con number 3 is it's a slow burn. Yeah, so this is something that I saw in a number of different reviews. That is something that I never considered, but it is actually true. I'm not a fan of slow burns, and yet I didn't realize it was, so take it with a grain of salt, but people are saying it, so I will acknowledge that. It takes a while for them to actually travel. So Phil Stamper spends a lot of time allowing us to get to know these characters as fully, wholly, and completely as we can. Not only the characters for themselves through their own perspectives, but also their dynamics they have with the other characters. If that is something that you're not a fan of, slow burns, then be mindful of it picking it up. And my final pro for this duology is being gay is not an or the issue. Yeah, the amount of times that I have picked up a gay book, yes, I can say LGBTIQ+, but honestly I'm referring to male books. The amount of times I picked up a gay book and the overwhelming issue is the coming out trope and dealing with, oh my gosh, what will people say when I come out, and I'm so scared to come out and blah, 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 blah. Don't get me wrong. I understand the importance of those books, and I wish that they were around when I was younger. They weren't. So I do understand and appreciate the importance of them. But I read many male books throughout every single year nowadays, now that they're out there. And one thing that annoys me is that the majority of them deal with the exact same trope. So I want to celebrate the fact that these boys have all come out. They're all, yeah, they are gay. They all know that they're gay. They're all accepting of it. It's not an issue. It's not a roadblock. Now that we know this, let's move on with the story. I love those situations. The first time I ever heard of this scenario was when, Max Mushnick was being interviewed about his wonderful, critically acclaimed series, Will and Grace. And he said, we wanted to have a show where the coming out had already occurred, and now that we know this and now that we accept it, we can just move forward with the story. And I thought, what a fabulous idea! Yes! It's just accepted, now we can move on! And that is definitely what you get in this series, which is just so refreshing. The gay thing is done. Now what happens? The gay coming out thing is done. Now what happens as we move forward? So yeah, I do highly recommend the series. Please allow me to pick up my lovely crochet hook and use it as a teacher pointer as I illustrate a quick point to you. The next series that I'm going to talk to you about lives on that shelf right there. And as you can see, there are many books. I am not going to pull all of them out and show all of them to you because it will take far too long, but I am doing a bookshelf tour later on in the month and you will see every single one of them then. I'm just going to show you the first 3 in this scenario and then of course give you spoiler-free pros and cons about the series as a whole. Okay, so I am talking about, they're in the wrong order, there we go, the Campers and Criminals, Camper, I keep getting it wrong, Camper and Criminals Cozy Mystery Series by Tonya Kappas. This is book number 1, Beaches, Bungalows and Burglaries. This is book number 2, Deserts, Driving and Derelicts. And this is book number 3, Forests, Fishing and Forgery. They are all by Tonya Kappas, and they are all adult cozy mystery books. And I'm going to hold up this one because I love the dark green. Isn't that really cool? I love the dark green. Anyway, yes, every single title, as you'll probably come to learn if you don't know the series at this point, is alliteration. It's all, pick one letter and have 3 words that all start with that letter. So yeah, it's like the BBB series, The DDD book, not series. Try that again. BBB book. DDD book. FFF book, you know, that's how they are. All right, let's get into the basic premise of this one. So, in this series, sorry, wrong one. In this series, I was going to read Golden Boys again. We follow Mae West, a former New Yorker whose mansion was raided and her husband is arrested for a Ponzi scheme where he ripped people out of millions of dollars. The only thing not seized by the government was a tourist campground in Normal, Kentucky, and an RV to live in. Can Mae turn this run-down business around? Yeah, so that is your basic premise. Can Mae turn the camping ground around? The setting is at the campground. I think one pro that I did not mention, but here's the bonus pro, I'm going to give it to you now, is that the series name, if you've seen my gripes with cozy mysteries, I did some videos like the 10 things that annoy me about cozies. I love my cozies, but that's why I want to make that point, the 10 things that annoy me. One of those things is inappropriately, incorrectly named series. This one is not one. It is the Camper and Criminals series. In every single book, we are at the campground. And if we're not at the campground, we've taken the camper, Mae's camper, somewhere. So we still have the camper itself. And in every single book in the series, there are criminals because it's a cozy mystery series. It's very adequately named. Alright, so with this particular series, I was buddy reading it with my dear friend Jane, and still am. I have 2 more books that I'm reading in the month of December. And so I decided to turn to Jane and ask her to list me some pros and cons for this one, because it's always good to get a second opinion from the, as the metaphorical saying goes, horse's mouth, as opposed to, you know, just my views, right? So let's have a look and see what Jane has said, because I do agree with all of her points. Just one moment. So we're going to go through the cons first that Jane has, and then we'll go to the pros. So starting off with con number 1, the series has a lot of books and counting. Yeah, absolutely. It is not to be underestimated, the commitment that you are going to make if you decide to dedicate yourself to this series as a whole. At the moment, I'll just double check what the amount is. You know what? I need to actually present it to you in this way so that you understand what Jane is referring to, and I completely agree with her. Book number 38, which, yeah, take a moment to digest that. Book number 38 was published on October 27, 2024. If that's not enough, on December 29, 2024, book number 39 is coming out. I feel like Kappa's probably releases 3, maybe 4 books a year, so by the time we get to the end of 2025... Sorry about the pause there. I live in a court, and diagonally across the road from me is this guy who likes to come out, get on out of his home, get on his motorbike, and just rev for 10 minutes straight, and I didn't want that in the video, so that's why I paused. Yeah, so 39, book number 39 in this series is coming out on December the 29th. If she releases 3 to 4 a year, by the time we get to... You can probably hear what I'm saying? Yep. Okay. By the time we get to the end of 2025, we're probably going to be up to book 43 in the series. So do be mindful. If you're not only looking to start the series, but commit to it, it's a massive commitment. Con number 2, Mae's backstory is always mentioned in detail in each book. Absolutely true. Yes, in every cozy that I read, every subsequent book to book number 1, the main character gives us, their backstory. Gives us a little bit of their backstory, and I feel like the reason that authors do this sort of thing is so that anyone can pick up a cozy mystery at any point and be absolutely fine with it, but it can get very annoying. In this particular case, it is very detailed, as Jane says, the backstory of Mae, every single book, and it can become very tiresome, so do know that going in. Con number 3, the narration may not be for everyone. Yeah, in this case, I'm interpreting that as the narration of the audiobook. Yeah, absolutely. I think Jane started listening to the audiobooks and then stopped. I am still listening to them, but I honestly don't know how. I think I just got used to them, which, as you can imagine, you kind of do when you have now read, I'm just checking what number I'm up to, when you've read 35 in the series. But yeah, the narration can be very hard to listen to. It's very irksome, in my opinion, is the best way to put it. So do be mindful of that. Maybe it's one of those situations, if you go on to Audible, you listen to a sample before you purchase, just so you know if it's going to work for you or not. But yeah, it's a good point, Jane, and thank you for making it. Con number 4 that she's listed, sometimes the titles don't fit the mystery. Yes, absolutely true. I was saying this of the most recent one that I read. I don't remember the name, but yeah, it had all these words, like you see here, the 3 words, and I was coming up with a replacement in my last review saying, I know it's this, but it's so misleading. It should have been this. So yeah, be mindful of that too. If you're someone like me who likes to go in blind, with the exception of the title, the author, and also potentially the age rating and genre, but nothing else, do be mindful that the title may actually be a false representation of that book. So just be aware of that as well. Let's quickly go over those pros that Jane suggested. She has 5 of them. Excellent, Jane. Thank you. Number 1, the books are short. You can get through them in a day. Yeah, very true. This is book number 3. All of the books are extremely short. This one, to give you an example, there are recipes at the back. I'm not going to include the recipes. Not including the recipes, this one is 143 pages long. Yeah, they are novella-sized books, which explains how Tonya Kappas can release so many every single year. But yeah, very, very quick, easy reads. If you are someone who reads a lot of long books and you like little novella refreshers, this is perfect for that situation. If you are looking to read a long series where all of the books in that series are short, and that therefore it makes it easier for you to get through because they're shorter books, perfect series for you. Pro number 2 that Jane listed, the characters become like a family. Yeah, absolutely. Found family trope. Once again, we have the Laundry Club ladies. I won't say more. I'm just saying the word Laundry Club ladies. Oh my gosh, definitely found family. And I have to say personally, I absolutely love them. Their dynamics, the way they relate to each other. Oh my gosh, love the Laundry Club ladies. Pro number 3, there aren't too many characters to keep track of, correct? And yeah, that is something that I struggle with. I'm currently reading Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, and there are so many characters, it's really hard to, keep everything in mind. Not so in this series, which is fantastic. Pro number 4, Jane listed, the mysteries are good and keep your attention. Yes, I completely agree. I'm not always a fan of the cozy side of this series, of the books in this series, but I am always a fan of the mystery. They are very intriguing. And pro number 5, the books are available on Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, if you have, I have finally started using Kindle Unlimited, the web version, because I can't justify paying for the actual Kindle, but the web version, and I keep forgetting to mention, available on Kindle Unlimited, if that does work for you. So yeah, keeping those pros and cons in mind, if you decide to pick up this series, let me know how you go with it. As we are rapidly running out of time, I shall rapidly get on to the final series I'm going to discuss, not only for this video, but for this year. And that is the Immortals series by Alison Noel. Alright, this is a YA paranormal / fantasy series, so do be mindful of that going in. And I had them in the wrong order. Now they're in the right one. And I will show them to you. So book number 1 is Evermore. I love the artistry of this book, by the way. It very much depicts what's going on. Book number 2, Blue Moon. Book number 3 is my only hardcover edition, Shadowland. Book number 4, Dark Flame. Book number 5, Night Star. And book number 6, Everlasting. I'll hold up Evermore to represent the series, and just a very quick backstory for you about, oh goodness, a number of years ago anyway, maybe 3-4 years ago, I was doing some voluntary work at an op shop, and I spent most of my time, unsurprisingly, in the book section, and made some wonderful co-worker friends while I was there. One of the people that I was working with, I was just talking books all the time with them, and they told me about this wonderful series. Hearing all of my tastes, they said, "You're going to love this series." So I picked up Evermore, loved it. I listened to it on audio. Then I couldn't find the audiobooks for the rest of the series, which was really unfortunate. I live in Australia, and geo-blocking with audiobooks can be incredibly frustrating. The frustration is very real. But then I eventually did end up finding ways to purchase those audiobooks outside of things like Audible, where they were geo-blocked. I found other companies that were selling them, which is absolutely fantastic. They weren't geo-blocked there, and was able to get through the rest of the series. So your basic premise for this one: after a horrible accident claims the lives of her family, 16-year-old Eva Bloom can see people's auras, hear their thoughts, and know someone's entire life story by touching them. Going out of her way to avoid human contact to suppress her abilities, she has been branded a freak at her new high school, but everything changes when she meets Damon August. Okay. First con, lack of depth in secondary characters. Very, very true. We have secondary characters at the high school that Eva gets to know, that Damon gets to know, and there's no depth to those characters. So if that's something that's going to annoy you, just know it going in. First pro, well-developed main characters. Unlike the secondary characters, Eva and Damon are very well fleshed out. So if that is something that you love and appreciate in the series, then it's definitely a pro for you, and definitely occurs in this one. Con number 2, predictable romance tropes. Yeah, absolutely. It's a YA paranormal series, but there in every single YA book there always has to be a romance. Seriously, I keep putting the challenge to y'all. Let me know in the comment section below of YA books that don't feature any romances, because I want to read them. I feel like YA authors sign this clause in every contract that is available for YA authors saying, "I promise there will be a relationship." And it just annoys me. But anyway, so the predictable romance tropes do come up in this series. Pro number 2, engaging premise. Yeah, so absolutely. We're following this girl named Eva who has all these amazing abilities, doesn't want to use them, doesn't want them to occur. And when she meets Damon, she is thrown into a whole nother world that she wasn't aware even existed, and so you got that as well. Like, it's the whole series is just so amazing. If you love world building, read this series. It is so good. Con number 3, simplified world building. Okay, I do need to clarify. World building absolutely exists in this series. I think it is well fleshed out, but there are others who have stated that while world building does exist, it doesn't go far enough. So do be mindful of that going in. I was very satisfied walking away with it, to be honest, but I read all different types of fantasy, whether it's high fantasy, low fantasy, hard magic systems, soft magic systems. So for me, I'm good. The author will do what the author does, and I was satisfied with the world building, but some people weren't. So do be mindful of that going in. And the final pro, strong female lead. I cannot, overstate enough how much I love picking up a book where not only is the protagonist a female, but they are an incredibly mentally strong female. I love seeing that representation. I always have. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, it's just a mere neutral fact. I'm the biggest male feminist that I know. So anytime I pick up a book, for example, I think the first time this occurred for me was picking up Mistborn: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. The protagonist in that book, her name is Vin. She is very strong-willed. very strong-willed, and I loved that. Anytime I pick up a series where we're following a female protagonist that is strong-willed, I immediately fall in love with the book because of the fact that that is there. And that is definitely there in this series with Eva. She is very strong-willed, which I very much appreciate. There are other books and series that I've read where a female protagonist will come to a conclusion in their mind that they are going to do something, and then someone will talk to them, and because the thing that they are going to do won't serve character B, character A says, oh, alright, I guess I won't do that then, and they crumble, and it really annoys me. Not Eva. Eva will always stand up for what she believes in. She will stand strong to her convictions, her choices, all those sorts of things. If you are looking for YA female empowerment in a series, you will absolutely get it in this series. I know I'm saying that passionately, but yeah, as I explained earlier, I love seeing that in the series, and it made me so happy. All throughout the entire series, she is so mentally strong and sticks to her guns, and I love it, love it, love it. If any of this has appealed to you, I highly recommend picking up that series, as well as, of course, Camper and Criminals, and as well, of course, the Golden Boys duology. This is, as I say, my final SAS list spoiler-free review video. That is a mouthful to say, for 2024. There may be more that come along in 2025. But have you read any of these series before? Let me know in the comments section below. Have I inspired you to pick up any of them? Let me know that as well. I'd love to discuss it with you while you read it. But in the meantime, I'm going to let you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind, love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, everyone.